On this episode of Clone Talk.
Of course, they want to make it hard or outlaw anything natural because they can't patent nature, but they can synthesize it and patent that.
hmm
So that's where this is
hmm
going, my friends. I always say intermittent, forget it's integrated.
No, we always want to be on it. We don't want intermittent pest management.
No,
We want to
yeah.
have an integrated process nonstop because these pests don't give up. So you shouldn't either.
A 10-gallon pot and some good like super soil and let it ride. And
Hey team, Clone Coach here. Are you tired of struggling with your clones? Slow rooting times, purple stems, yellow growth, damping off, and so much more. Now, wherever you are in the world, the best tool to have in your nursery are the Clone Coach SOPs. These SOPs provide step-by-step instructions and expert guidance to get you the best clones ever. Join the team today at clonecoach.com.
Welcome to Clone Talk. I'm Paul, your clone coach, and I help cultivators make the best clones ever. Today we have a very special episode. I'm excited to introduce to everybody Cousin Nikolai. Cousin Nikolai, how are you today?
hey, cousin, how are you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Just getting things all situated here in the live stream studio. I had to do a real quick update before coming on with you. It's always perplexing sometimes, but anyhow, here we are. Thank you for having me.
100%. Where are you based out of? Where are you checking in from today?
I'm here in Disco, Michigan, cousin. It's southeastern Michigan, the mitten state of the Great Lakes. That's right. That's right. I'm here in my cousin's editing studio, live stream studio that he has built since COVID lockdowns. That's right.
I love it. So how long have you been in the cannabis community out there in Michigan?
Yeah, so just before the lockdowns, we had the recreational, we go recreational, and I have the opportunity to grow 12 plants here legally in Michigan under a recreational laws here. And so we do just that, and we bring our plants to the backyard and build an enclosure. And one of our neighbors got she got quite interested in what we were doing, and so of course I had to bring one over to her and tell her, this is legal cannabis and we're going to be growing it now. And turns out she took a liking to it, cousin. And now it's been a few years and we're growing tandemly in our backyards together, Miss Kay and I.
What a good neighbor you are. What a way to spread the wealth, spread the plant across. You're doing a neighborly thing to just, once again, be out there and be courteous and say, hey, neighbor, just so you know, this is what I got going on. And here's a little bit of knowledge on why I'm able to plant this little garden over here. And by the way, would you like a little extra plant? Because that's part of the rules and regulations too, the gifting to another adult. So that spread of the plant is an amazing thing you're doing there.
Yeah, it's turned out to be, cousin. It was just like little blossoming idea when we started the plants, and then the COVID lockdowns came, and we did another run outdoors, and she said, she came to me at the fence and she said, I had dreamed that I grew one of your plants. And I said, see, dreams are the seeds of reality, Miss Kay. Would you like one? And so that's when it all started. And she only
Wow.
grows one, but yeah, she comes over and helps your cousin Nikolai out once in a while.
That's lovely. So that kind of touches on what the cannabis community is like out there, right? Like I just did a little trip to Ohio and went to Michigan as well, and I'm assuming that every back garage, yard, shed has some sort of garden in it, man, because it seems to be just a community out there to be thriving, alive and well, and the sharing and the caring and all of it seems to be there. So am I spot on with that, with what the cannabis community is like out there in your great state?
Yes, my friend, it's true. In every state that I have been coming across, it seems there is a large community of cannabis enthusiasts, just like all of us. It's not just out there in California where you are, where it's, is well known for, kicking things off there, and really bringing it to light for the world. But yeah, it's got a very unique, great caregiver law here. In fact, Michigan probably has one of the best caregiver laws here. If you're a caregiver card holder, you can grow, or you can have, excuse me, you can have up to 5 patients, and you're then allowed to grow 12 plants. So you do the math, my friend. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's very nice for the caregivers that have really started this whole thing off for, the recreational growers like myself. And, as people see it become legal and they go to the dispensaries, some of them are not quite pleased with the quality of
Hmm.
products that come from them, or perhaps the
Hmm.
pricing, or whatever, just the whole experience. And what I've found is that homegrown and what I see come out of these Ziploc baggies tends to be some of my favorite, my friend. It's true. Anyhow, so that's why I try.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why I try to get hip to it all, and I get into growing myself. And this is like I just started. This is my second indoor run here, and I'm getting up to speed. And so yeah, I come across you from our good friend Gordy Johncock from the Cutting Edge Solutions and Growers Tested Formulas. He put us in touch, right? And he told me
Hmm.
because I was having issues with my cloning, and he says, do you know of this clone coach? I said, no. He said, well, you should. And so now I do. And yeah, thank you, cousin. I've begun to read your SOPs just last night, in fact, getting ready to maybe take a couple clones from the two plants, the two clones. I took two clones prior. You will not be impressed because they are quite red, but you know how it goes. But they are
Yeah.
going to make it. They will make it, and I will get them here. Be taking them into the other pseudo grow area where I'll be able to flip them to flower and then start doing some training, as they say. Anyhow, yeah, getting
I
up to
love it.
speed.
I love it. 100%. So before we get into more into the growing, and tap into what the setup is like, what some challenges have been, what lessons you've learned perhaps. I want to just get a little perspective of cousin Nikolai and what cousin Nikolai thinks of, obviously in particularly cannabis, but what he thinks of the war on drugs, and in particular, within that cannabis. What does cousin Nikolai think about the war on drugs?
Well, the war on drugs has been going on for quite some time, well before I came on to the scene of cannabis, right? They have been propagandizing the plant for since the beginning, right? With the jazz musicians, and maybe a lot of you do or do not know, but there is quite the history of this propaganda with the plant. And I know this now because I have really immersed myself in this wonderful plant. And back in the 80s, when I would come back to visit the cousin, and here in the
Hmm.
States of United, there were these commercials going around where they would crack the egg and throw it in the frying pan. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And we'd all laugh and giggle as we were, taking bong hits and that. And anyhow, it was not quite like that for us. I don't know what it's like now for the young kids in this internet, but for us, we had bikes and things to do. So we did not sit on the couch and lay around and were non-productive. We were doing things always. But so we would think that was silly because we did not see it like that. But the war on drugs had created an epidemic in the inner cities and everywhere. Anybody with the plant, it could be a seed, it could be a pipe, it could be a lot of cannabis.
Roach.
Right? It did not matter what you were doing with it. If you were caught with it, you could suffer serious consequences. And we know
Life
this,
changing consequences.
right? Yes. So, yeah. So back then, as may have been silly to think about as a kid, it is very serious now, especially as we have moved into the legal market here,
Hmm.
and people are profiting off this plant. I think it's definitely very important, as many of the advocates out there are letting people know. The prisoners. What are some of these organizations, cousin? I wish I had the list in front of me. But yeah, there's some. we'll have to really look up. Maybe I'll look up on the Google here. You'll edit it. Maybe we could edit it. But if you wanted to have that in there, but let me just roll on. But yes, there's many excellent organizations out there advocating to free the prisoners for the,
Hmm.
especially for nonviolent crimes relating to
Hmm.
cannabis. And I think that needs to be a big topic of conversation always, especially now. So yeah, the war on drugs was a failure, I believe, because people look at what's going on in the cities now. We have an epidemic of fentanyl, and also
Hmm.
who knows what they're doing? Bath salts and these
Everything.
spice, K2 spy. Who knows? I just really, that's why it's important. I think even more so now is to grow your own, right? Homegrown versus
Yeah,
everybody.
I completely agree with you because there's so many wrongs that this war on drugs has created, and that's why, I want to ask the guests on this show their thoughts on this, so we could start this dialogue and let people know that especially this plant that cannabis is has no part in this so-called war on drugs, and then the war on drugs itself has its own lack of merits to address as well. So this plant is just, I always find it ironic that the government classifies this as having zero medicinal value and a high level for abuse, or whatever the terminology is. And yet, whenever a state brings on a cannabis program, the first thing that they do is a medical program, and usually for pretty serious illnesses that they say these are the only reasons we'll allow you to consume medical cannabis in this particular state. It's usually a highly, a really big medical reason. So that the irony is so obvious, and it's just hard to ignore and continue on, with knowing that. So we're doing our part in the dialogue, and as a little segue there, the medicinal benefits of cannabis itself. Are there any particular stories that stick out to you, cousin, that have really stuck with you as far as the power of the healing power of this plant?
Yes, most definitely. I believe a lot of people have heard these stories about the CBD and the children with epilepsy, specifically the Charlotte's Web strain and the Stanley brothers out there in Colorado that really brought
Mm-hmm.
it to light because they got some attention through the news and media, right? And thank goodness for that, because there's many stories of that, and that's what really interests me and my cousin, who started this cannabis evangelist network thing that he's doing here, is really spreading the truth about the plant through testimonials and of the healed and that, and it's the children that are
Mm-hmm.
going to benefit it from the most, with the epilepsy. And now, as they're discovering with the ADD and the ADHD, which has been very much misdiagnosed and misrepresented, but nonetheless,
And overly prescribed.
absolutely. If they need to relax or sedate or whatever, get the children's attention, this, they're. I don't want to go into it because I'm not, like a medical like
But there,
professional. But
there's
yeah,
windows of glimmers of hope that need to be studied more with the proper channels, and there's enough evidence to say you should continue researching these paths to find another solution, to a problem that is given the wrong solution to, right? That we're saying is the wrong solution to that problem.
it is. Well, the FDA watches everything, and it's been, and the reason I kind of refrain from speaking is I'm trying to figure it out. I'm new to this online thing that everybody is doing, but I have had talks with professionals, and they said to watch what sorts of claims you make, especially on your website about healing and things like that. They will
Mm-hmm.
slap you with fines, and they like to do
Hmm.
that. And this is litigation, my friends. When you get letter in mail, you usually,
Hmm.
if it's lawyer speak, you're usually going and seeing a lawyer to see what this means and all that and how you have to reply. So I want to be very careful of what I do going
Of
forward
course,
online, right? So all I
of
do
course.
is, and from the cousin Nikolai perspective, is really I like to just open up the topics or bring light to it, right? I turn people on to
Hmm.
things and then we can have the conversation. So, but going back to the medical benefits, I'd like to talk about that more. I'm not scared to talk about it. I just don't want to make any claims, but you can see it for yourselves. All the people that have children that have the epilepsy and grand mal seizures and um, uncontrollably convulsing, and they take 1 or 2 drops of this oil that they could make themselves, my friends, and
Yes.
within minutes their children are children again instead of
Yeah.
zombies or
Yeah.
catatonic or, for God forbid, they hurt themselves. But those are the stories that touch me, cousin. And
Hmm.
there's many, many of them. And those are the, yeah. So medical benefits, and they're unknown. And just to conclude, we know it's, as you guys say here in America, BS, that there is no medical benefits when when they've had patents on this plant, and of course they want to make it hard or outlaw anything natural because they can't patent nature, but they can synthesize it and patent that.
Hmm.
So that's where this is
Hmm.
going, my friends. Is going to be like big tobacco, big alcohol, big regulation, big money to play, and then who knows what, I don't know. It will be interesting. You hear the stories coming online that what they do with when they excuse me, I'll have to edit this. So when they corporatize everything, it seems to turn into poison. The box cereals, everything is packaged up in
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
packaged poison, and we know that the dispo weed is suspect as well because they are remediating or radiating or washing their cannabis because it just can't pass tests. But yet,
Right. Right.
yeah, I'm sorry to get off topic a little bit.
No worries. A good takeaway from that is as everybody tries to do their part in spreading the medicinal benefits to others, to loved ones, to friends, to families. Be careful on the claims, like was touched on. Let's not overpromise, but it's this plant is powerful enough to where if you just give them the right ratio, the right recommendation, the right method of ingestion, the results will speak for themselves where you don't need to be the one making these outlandish claims. Just let the plant do its healing work, and that alone changes people's perspectives. If they're suffering from an ailment and they're given this plant and the proper dosage and the right form that's right for their ailment, that alone will change their perspective on it. They don't need to hear it. Once they see it and feel it for themselves, that's the difference maker in my point. And I think it's a good segue into how you touched on you can make this medicine yourself. And that starts off with growing your own. So cousin Nikolai, let's dive into your garden. Let's dive into the seeds, to the strains you're working with, to the setup, to the equipment, to everybody out there that wants to take advantage of their ability to grow their own personal plants at home, be it a basement, be it a spare bedroom, be it a tent, what have you. So let's maybe start off with genetics and the starting seeds, whether that be feminized seeds, autoflower seeds, clones. What's your favorite seed to grow right now? Maybe what do you have in your garden currently?
Well, cousin, I'm quite the newbie to the whole genetics game, quite honestly. It wasn't, but yet, probably 2 seasons ago, that I was bestowed upon some seeds from a local grower that's breeding seeds, and it was a
Hmm.
photo. These were they were regular seeds and some autoflower seeds. So yeah, he had a interesting story. I won't get into it, but yeah, he had some landrace Afghan seeds that were brought back from one of the vets that were out there on patrol back in the day, smuggled back in
Hmm.
hacky sack, right? So this guy crossed with a auto, right? Photo auto. You probably may have know about this, that they cross the auto with a photo, so you get a shorter photo period run. So here in
Hmm.
Michigan, we have a powdery mildew issue, especially here late in August and early October, when the rains and the damp and the cold come, you really need to have a hoop house. So Cousin Nikolai built an outdoor pseudo hoop house to combat this.
Whew.
And yeah, that's right. I do just PVC over the fence right there, but that's what I've been doing. So I started out growing outdoors, didn't know much about genetics, did not want to pay for anything because I'm newbie. I didn't even know if I would be able to finish the season with what was going on here at home. So anyhow, so I do okay. I'm fast forward. It's 3 seasons. This will be what, my 4th season growing outdoors if I decide to do so. But yeah, I had the autoflower and photo period, and they did just that. By end of July, early August, they were done. And yeah, I
Huh.
pulled them, and they were good. It had a mix of the ruderalis. I find out about this thing they call the ruderalis, right? That's how they're mixing the auto flowers. They get this the ruderalis, a little bit more leafy of a structured plant. So the buds are a little bit more leafy, I found. But anyhow, so moving on, this year, just about a year ago, I was introduced to many may know of Michael Fang of the legendary Gage Green Group, and he is a pretty well-known breeder on the gram and worldwide, actually. And being a newbie, I'm quite embarrassed. I did not know of him, but I was turned on to him by one of our fellow cannabis cousins on the gram that is the most excellent grower in the tents. I have to give him plug, cousin. He started your cousin Nikolai out here, turning him on to like Michael Fang and people that really know how to
Yes, sir.
grow. Right, it's dreaming of cannabis on the gram. If you're watching, cousin, big shout out to you. Much love. Thank you. Anyhow, so yeah, he turned me on to Michael Fang, who had a private third eye spring gathering he puts on, where you come and sample his cultivars. There's a special dab bar and his flower, his rosin, and it's a special select VIP event where you pay and you go, and it's everybody. There's different vendors with some like elixirs, just very nice experience. It's quite the higher end cannabis. It's quite an experience, anyhow.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Michael Fang is well known for the Mendo breath, and
Hmm.
him crossing the Mendo with many strains that are the back. It's basically the backbone to many strains. So he is real tight with the guys out on the West Coast that are doing great things like the Sherbinskis and those guys. But these strains, these are legendary genetics that were going around, right? That's my understanding, and being crossed with some world-class growers. And what we have today is pretty much like a cross from all this. So yeah, the Mendo breath is, from my understanding, is a backbone to a lot of the genetics that we see today. So I'm lucky to have somebody at his level advising me and sharing his genetics with me, which he did. And I was lucky because he's given me a pseudo apprenticeship, and I am growing a Mona Lisa cultivar and an aqua simultaneously with one of our fellow cannabis cousins on the gram, the Shark Mouse Farms, who I call the professor of cannabis. It's true, my friends. Yeah, and the Gordy Johncock, who introduced us, is the third guru I'm calling, who is advising me in this like little pseudo apprenticeship I'm calling it. So these guys come on every Sunday on my show and give me some advisement. I tell them where I'm going and the difficulties I'm having and the issues I'm suffering with the VPD and why my plants look like this and that. And yeah, so I'm really learning this season, guys. And yeah, so the genetics are the backbone to everything. I now know. And if you start with something very strong, you're going to end up in a better place in the end. As long as
Yes, sir.
you do everything right, right?
Of course, of course. It's not an easy job. These plants, the standard we set for cultivating these plants is really high. So, you mentioned VPD, that's short for vapor pressure deficit. It's if you want to learn more about it, do a little bit of research on it, but it has to do with temperature, humidity, air pressure, light. There's a lot of variables that get factored into this formula for plant growth.
Are you a cannabis grower looking for reliable and accurate pathogen testing for your plants? Look no further than MyFlora DNA. Their state-of-the-art lab offers testing for hop latent viroid, fusarium, as well as other pathogens that can cause harm to your crops. Trust them to provide you the information that you need to ensure the health of your plants. And for a limited time, use discount code CloneCoach at checkout for up to 20% off your entire order. Don't let pathogens ruin your crop. Choose MyFlora DNA for all of your cannabis testing needs. Now back to the show.
Let's touch on this pseudo apprenticeship that you mentioned. That's part of the indoor aspect you have going on. Am I right?
Yes, my friend. Yeah, so I grow a long outdoor season to about October, and then I come indoors, and around November I try to. Well, at least last year I started in November. This year I was a little bit late. Started in early February. Popped some seeds. And so I had the idea as these guys, as Michael came on and was teaching me, and I said, hey, can I bring you on this show for like a pseudo apprenticeship? It's like you can just come on when you want. It doesn't have to be for real. It's just all kind of beef or pretend. He's like, no, actually, I like the idea, and let's do it. And I said, well, let me see if I can get Shark Mouse, who Shark Mouse Farms on the gram. He has a big following. He's very technical and very wise in his drawing.
Detailed.
Yeah, very detail oriented. You could get a lot from his descriptions. It's not for everybody. It's especially newbie grower. But I've been following him long enough, and now I know the lingo, and I know these things about VPD, and so now I can it kind of absorbs more. But anyhow, yeah, so I get with him. I have super high end, right, technical grower, and then I have Michael Fang, who is really a organic living soil, and really he is one with
Soil biology,
like
microbes.
yes, the fermentation and the mushroom. The guy's really next level. He's wrapping the roots and crystals, and just the whole organic, and so it's a very much a lifestyle of between all these different growers. And then we have to round it out, I have Gordy Johncock, who is the most excellent teacher. He's been around for many years out there on the West Coast with the big growers. He's been with Cutting Edge Solutions for a number of years, which is well known for being a most excellent brand of nutrients, if that's what you're doing. It's not salts, guys. This is a mineral-based nutrient line, and some of the products are actually organically certified. I just want to put that out there just for the organic lifestyle growers. I don't want them hating on me too much because I'm getting into that too, guys. I've brought growers. Gordy has turned me on to the growers tested cocoa formulas, which I'm using in the runs, guys, indoors here. I really went off topic. Do you want to reel me back in? Because you were saying, tell me about your pseudo apprenticeship, and now I'm like going into the soil too much.
No, it's
okay.
It's all right.
Okay.
So look, cousin, we're back in the indoor garden. What are some of your favorite? Well, let's take a step back. What are some learning lessons that you would want to share with somebody else that's taken on this hobby of growing their own? What are a couple bullet point lessons that you've taken away over these last few seasons that you would want to share and say, hey, don't make the same mistake that I made?
I would say if you're starting to try to grow, I would say go with growing outdoors first. It's the cheapest. Okay. It's I wouldn't say it's easy. Everything has its challenges, but yeah, it is. I believe it's easier, especially if you get a good living like a super soil. Like, you can make your own living soil, but that's complicated. But I'm trying to come from the newbie aspect, and that's where I was. It's like, how do I grow? That's great. I did not know about genetics. I had some seeds. Who knew what they were? There are seeds I got from bags or whatever. I got some from Gordy, right? And I put some in ground, and I learned about, you need to give nutrients because my ground might not have enough nutrients. But for simplicity, I would say, a 10-gallon pot and some good like super soil, and let it ride, and then and keep it outdoors and do some preventative maintenance for the pests and things like that. and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Because the biggest hurdles I've had in growing have been indoors. Outdoors here in Michigan,
Okay.
it's definitely the IPMing, intermittent pest management, right? Right. I was calling it intermediate.
Integrated.
Integrated. See, I was saying intermittent. I always say intermittent. Forget it's integrated.
No, we always want to be on it. We don't want intermittent pest management.
No.
We want to
Yeah.
have an integrated process nonstop
S-
because these pests don't give up. So you shouldn't either.
Yeah. Forgive me, guys. Don't leave me any comments below, whatever. But yeah. So
No,
yeah.
this is fantastic. So the outdoors start, outdoors a good way to start simple, start basic, and just have a healthy plant with a healthy soil, so it's not too complicated, and just keep your pests and disease away.
Right.
What about indoor? What are some lessons, some takeaway lessons from having plants indoors? What would you share with other people trying to set up something in their spare bedroom or basement?
Start small, right? You don't have to, yeah, smaller and cheaper, the better, I would say, unless you've got money to spend. But, in the area dictates, I was only limited to a small area within the
Mm-hmm.
laundry room here. And there was like an old school little shower. They're like 30-inch by 30-inch little shower. And then the other side of it was, I call it the cubby area, where you would like where you would keep a shelving unit with towels or something. And that's 30 by 30. So it's basically two by two areas, right? So, like tents, right? I couldn't even fit a tent in there. So I start with one light and on each side, and yeah, it was pretty cheap. I think I got the lights for under a couple $100 each, and the pots and the soil. I did a living soil, and I did the auto flowers over there. So it was pretty much, I didn't have to worry about the light contamination, right? Because you got to darken for the flower period for the photos. But again, I will bring up the most difficult thing is the VPD, my friends. Nonetheless, you always have to worry about this airflow, circulation, humidity, temperature, and it all changes
Mm-hmm.
as during, and what time your lights come on. So I learned the hard way too, because the house changes temperature during day and night and during seasons too. So that's what I'm learning
Yep.
this season, cousin, is because I think I made mention last, it's ideal to grow in the winter here in the basement because you don't have a heat and humidity issue. You don't have to dehumidify, you have to add humidity. And that's
Mm-hmm.
tends to be a
Mm-hmm.
little bit easier, I believe, is adding humidity here, and then you have to add heat. So the lights, if they put, you're doing okay. You don't have to regulate so much. So fast forward, I
Right.
started late in February. Now we're here going into June. I'm into day 48 of flower, I believe, and it's a hot, humid day. It's going on 3 in the afternoon, and I know the humidity is raised at least 60% into that flower room. 65% is not good when you don't have proper air circulation. That is a recipe for
Mm-hmm.
powdery mildew, my friends. So I have
Mm.
got fans going right now. One of them is off for
Yes.
this interview, and yeah, so it's proper ventilation, and it's the VPD, guys. Google it, get familiar with it. It's not complicated because there's a range of temperatures and humidity you have to stay in, and once
Mm-hmm.
you find that range, you can manage it, I believe. And I'm doing that, but I need
So
AC. Sorry.
of course, and so on that note, for the listeners out there, here's some takeaways, right? The room that you're in indoors, if it's affected by the outdoor environment, be it seasons or temperature swings in the outdoor environment, we need to find a way to insulate that growing environment. Be it's just in a better part of the room. There's actual insulated walls. There's some sort of layers that so you could isolate the environment that you're trying to control there. And the VPD aspect of it, as a real basic, we don't want complete opposites. Basically, we don't want a very hot and dry room that doesn't provide an ideal growing environment. And between vegetative state and the flowering state, the growing environments vary slightly, but basically, as long as you're somewhat within a range of each other and they follow each other, if you're going really hot, you should have extra humidity. If you're a little bit cooler, you should have less humidity. Humidity should never climb above temperature, and you shouldn't create any sort of gap there, and you shouldn't create a gap between temperature and humidity on the high and the low either. So if you're within some sort of similar range of, call it, 10 or 15 points of each other, you're probably doing as good as you could do, be it your environment that you're trying to adjust. So as that little takeaway, the more the room is insulated, the more you have control. The bigger the room gets, the more equipment you're going to need to implement and rely on, like a humidifier or a dehumidifier or both, with sensors to control your highs and your lows, your light output, that creates heat for you. And maybe if you're like me, I'm in a hot environment, so we tend to run our rooms at night. So when we add the heat source in the room, it's already at the coolest part of the day. So we're not adding a heat source at the hottest part of the day, making our equipment run overtime or put extra stress on our equipment. So those are, I would say, some additional benefits to kind of get a better understanding of what you're trying to, handle in an indoor environment. And on that note, cousin, what are some of your favorite pieces of equipment that you are coming across, be it light, fans, pots, nutrients, that are helping you, get the goals and achieve your goals in that indoor garden?
Well, I can tell you one of the favorite things I've added last season was the Autopot watering system. It's a wicking system, right, with the module trays, and it has a 12.5-gallon reservoir. And I have two systems going right now. One of them's running the cutting edge solutions for the growers tested cocoa 70-30 perlite mix. And then I have another reservoir running a new line of fully organic, the Earthstayers Earthcraft Biosystems, fully organic line in that reservoir into the other module. And I make mention of this because I do something unique. I tried to do something unique to make it interesting for people to watch my newbie growing. If you guys do not know, there's this company called Air Bottom Bags. You guys know about them. If you do not, you should, and you will now. They are most excellent. I have one here. Hold on. Stand by.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, mine's will do show and tell right now. Let me take some of. I'll give a nice little plug.
You said they're called Air Bottom Bags?
Yes, sir. I'll show you right now. Take out the Michigan Beneficials little soil, or I'm using their line. I have to give a plug. This is a good home, like Michigan brand. He's a good cannabis cousin. He's starting things off, but his children help him mix up these things. But
small business,
right?
I love it.
Big shit. I wore a shirt today.
It.
Who am I going to wear and represent? I have to start with the small business, a sole proprietor like your cousin Nikolai. But here's another sole proprietor. He's down in Florida, and I believe he's relocating. But anyways, I'd like to tell everybody where everybody is. But yeah, he's our cannabis cousin Paul down at Air Bottom Bags. And what's unique about this, you guys can see, it's like a polyester type. It's very mesh-like. You can almost see through it, right? You can almost see through it. And what's unique is it has this like little added layer. It's like it's a little, I forget, he always gives me the proper term, but I forget. It's
like an air gap of some sort?
Yeah, and he calls it the air bottom. It's the air bottom. And so it's,
yeah.
Right, it's got some holes, and it keeps the roots from being smashed down on the ground. And of course, if you're growing on a cold surface, it keeps it raised, but it eliminates the need for autopots to add the clay pebbles. You have to add clay pebbles, they suggest, and because you don't, the Autopot system is a wicking system, and this sits in like a little tray, right, with the tube that feeds the tray, and so you don't want it just sitting saturated. So they say to use the pebbles. Well, I've tried various ways. I've used the pebbles with regular bags, and then I got these Air Bottom Bags. But yeah, these were custom made to fit into the Autopot system. So I reached out to him the beginning of this pseudo grow that I'm doing, and I said, hey, I'm doing this pseudo apprenticeship with all these really cool guys that are real well known. Would you like, and I had already bought them before. I was like, would you make me some custom ones? Because I have some big Autopots has come out with a giant double XL tray, just new on market, guys. And I have a 13-gallon custom bag that I'm going to be putting in the new grow room and growing all organically in this new grow room. And I'm going to be doing one with organic nutrients and one just with the super soil, kind of like water only. And I'm going to just I'm trying all
Nice.
these, what I'm doing, guys, is I'm trying all these different lifestyles of growing or ways of growing that I'm going to narrow it down, see what works best for me. Like you
Yes.
pointed out all these great things about, or these great points about taking care of your environment. And I have checked off many of those on the list, but the last one I need to add now is AC. So I'm looking
Hmm.
for, and again, as a newbie home grower, I can't be calling an electrician in and bringing in some like Andin or some big Quest and like and doing all that. So I'll have to go to the grocery store, find one of them rolling units, and make do
Mm-hmm.
for now. It's not efficient, but it's what will work. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of figuring it out, and I get good advice from yourself and other people, and but yeah. Anyhow,
On the
budgets dictate and time as well. So that's what the autopot system has allowed me to do, is freeze me up from, top watering cocoa once or twice a day as the plant grows. Right. Anyhow.
So on back to the growing environment, we've covered some nutrients, some different methods of growing: organic, water only, and mineral based, for bottled nutrients, and which is fantastic because showing that the side by side is a different lifestyle of growing. People do have different mentalities when it comes to cultivating this plant, no matter at what scale. So the fact that you're showing both sides of it and you're exploring on your own both sides of or multiple sides of growing this plant, I think it's fantastic. Not only for yourself and your own journey, but for everybody else that's watching and joining along this journey as well. So let's make our way up the grow room and let's talk about lights. What kind of lights do you prefer to use? What have you come across? What are your thoughts? What are cousin Nikolai's thoughts on growing lights?
Well, I'm newbie, so I it was only last couple of years just that I had been doing the research. Right, this pseudo grow area that I have, the cubby and the shower, again are like 2 by 2 areas, so they're very specific for the footprint of a light
Mm-hmm.
you can get. So that's what really dictated what I was looking at first. I would go to the grow stores, and of course they're catering to more of the commercial growers. Some of them, right? They're big lights. They're running
Mm-hmm.
different type of panel lights and bar lights. And then I go on Amazon and I see all the brands like Spider Farmer and all these different ones, Mars, and how they fit into these
Mm-hmm.
little tents. But I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, as like doing content. So I really do my homework, and I come across some of these excellent tent growers. This I have to give shout out again because this is what pops to mind. This Jay Windsor 2000 on the gram. He's growing some most excellent plants in some tents, guys, and he's running these sun rays. They're just like must be. I don't know. I don't, forgive me, sun rays. It could be, I want to say Chinese. It could be, anyhow, I may be wrong, but they're like, on Amazon. And anyhow, I reach out to them, and they give me a discount. I buy one. I say I like it. I do content. Will you give me a discount? They give me another one. So I had that, and they fit just perfectly. And these were,
Nice.
yeah, they weren't anything fancy. The build quality was okay, but they'd put out light, and within 12 to 16 inches, they were within the par meter readings that I needed, and they did just fine. And so I made it through with them last season, but this season's been quite different because I got hooked up with a sponsorship, and for someone that I'd reach out to even before Sunrays, but their lights are a little bit higher price point, and I could not afford it at the time. And I was just fledgling little content creator. They say, I will keep eye on you, cousin Nikolai. And fast forward to just before I start this indoor pseudo apprenticeship, they reach out to me and they say they've been watching me and they wanted to get involved with this pseudo apprenticeship. And they hook me up with their lights, cousins. Now I have like two of
I
these.
love it.
It's great because these are sexy little beasts. And I tell you what, I'm not kidding. I would have paid for them anyways had they not given them to me. because they're excellent build. Now that I have in hand, it's everything that I had hoped for, because they really, they didn't taunt themselves, but just their branding and marketing made it look like is excellent light. And I do a little research, and they have a great parent company. And yeah, so I get them, and they're the Photon-Tech SQ 300 watt Pro. And their little square little light, it's probably like just that big. It fits right in my cubby and shower area. You guys can go to my gram page and check it out side by side. But what's real special, and I could show you right now if you wanted, maybe switch, I'll show you the grow room if you want a little sneak peek. Yeah.
Let's take a sneak peek.
Yeah.
For all those just listening only, you gotta be watching this on the YouTube channel to catch these visual clips here.
That's right. Wait for it, guys. Go over it. I'll give you a second to jam on over to YouTube. Push pause and go over to YouTube, and now you can see.
Yes.
Here it comes. Let's go. There it is, guys. It's not really well lit up. I have the lights off.
Wow.
That is the Photon-Tech X 1000 watt Pro full spectrum LED 10 bar LED. Those bars magnetically clip in, and I just put it together. I'm about ready to hang it in my little grow area there. I'll just give you a little sneak peek. Here I am.
So this is going to be a third grow area here, a newer, bigger grow area?
Yeah, so I have, it's the second indoor area. So I have the outdoor area, right? The pseudo hoop house. I have my indoor pseudo grow area, which is just offside of the laundry room that encompasses the cubby, the shower, and 2 AC Infinity tents that are right there off to the side. And then this is what I hope to have is, if this continues on, maybe it'll be a pro-like room, but right now it's just a pseudo grow room. I'm making the best for what I get. But yeah, this is a new room that we used to do product photography in. And cousin, we have another spare bedroom upstairs. Cousin says, well, you've got sponsorship. You're earning your keep now, cousin. Looks like you can afford rent in this room. Go ahead and clear it out and make it your own. So yeah, it's now that, but I had to take everything that was in here and put in my spare bedroom that I was sleeping. So now I like sleeping on couch and on pretty much right here on this floor. Anyhow, it's a trade-off, but anyhow, it's going to be good once I get this hanging and the plants in there. They're waiting. I've got them crammed in the cubby area. It's not been ideal, guys.
I'm sure you do. Those plants are ready for some new shoes, a new home, and ready for you to make their bed for them, right? Get them all set up.
I can't wait to start doing some low-stress training.
I love it. I love it. So cousin, obviously all these places where your Sunday live stream is where people could follow along with all of your different grows. Is that correct?
Yeah, they could get a recap of what's going on. Pretty much Instagram. If they follow me on Instagram, you could go through. Not that anybody will, but that's where I've been posting. I post every day a reel, and it's pretty much like a vlog style reel of whatever's going on and what I do. I cut some content out of it, and it kind of tells what stage I'm at of the growing. It's not like a very detailed, like everything, but you can get up to speed and see what I'm doing. But yeah, every Sunday I recap with the gurus of growing, and we talk about what week of growing we're in, and different topics, and sometimes I'll bring up different subjects to talk about, and then at the very end we do a little game show giveaway that we spin to win, and you can win some of the most excellent genetics from 3 of the up-and-coming breeders here in Michigan that I brought to Michael Fang's Seed Bank International, which is where he has a lot of world-class breeders. He has a website, and yeah, it's called the Seed Bank International, and Michael has given me an affiliateship, which you could get a discount from many of these most excellent breeders. Yeah, coupon code cousin.
There you go. I was going to say, what's the coupon code there?
Yeah. Hey, I got to fix this cord. Yeah, link in bio, as I always say. But yeah, it's coupon code cousin if you end up at Seed Bank International or Genetic Designers websites. And check out the world-class cultivars. He's even got a clone site, Legit Genetics, that you could use the coupon code cousin and get some world-class tissue cultures or cuttings, as they say. Anyhow, thanks for the plug, Clone
I
Coach.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, in fact,
I love it.
I
Of course. Of course.
of course I can't forget you, Clone Coach. I now have my latest greatest affiliate ship. It's the Clone Coach, guys. That's right. I have him on my links in bio as well. Nice plug for you, cousin.
Yes, sir. And obviously use code cousin.
Yeah, right.
That's the discount code for you.
Yeah, coupon code cousin.
So on the pseudo apprenticeship, where is the best place for listeners to join that live stream, and what options do they have to join that live stream every Sunday at what time?
It's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays, guys, and it's unique. I'm finding out because I don't think anybody else is doing this. But if you're on the gram, you can find me on the gram at Cousin Nikolai, and it'll pull up there. And then I take that feed and I run it through my main feed of YouTube and Facebook. So it's pretty much, if you're on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram at 10 a.m. Eastern Sundays, jump on Cousin Nikolai and watch one of the broadcasts. They're all pretty much the same, but you get the full production value out of the YouTube and Facebook one because I bring the overlay in from Instagram. But that's how we're pretty much communicating these days, guys, in the cannabis community. And so most of our followers are on the gram, and so that's how it starts. And I end up on YouTube with it. But thanks, Clone Coach.
I love it. So it's Cousin Nikolai on Instagram, and basically that's what you got to be searching for to find you on all the platforms, essentially, correct?
No, let's redo that. You can, Cousin Nikolai on the gram, and then Cousin Nikolai on YouTube and Facebook. It's all the same, Cousin Nikolai. But if you want to see most of the content, guys, yes, the gram, it's on the gram, guys, and the YouTube, but on the gram, if that doesn't confuse you.
On the gram, on Instagram, baby. Follow Cousin Nikolai.
That's right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, cousin, I'm glad we got to sit down and chat. I'm glad we got to dive into a little bit more about what you got going on and the journey that you're on, and your points of view on this magnificent plant that we are blessed to be working with. And I hope this brings a lot of value to the listeners and sparks some inspiration to go down your own journey with this magnificent plant. So, Cousin Nikolai, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Clone Talk today, and I can't wait to do more content with you. You might catch me on a few episodes of the Pseudo Apprenticeship with the Gurus of Growing. Just FYI, keep a lookout for that. So please follow Cousin Nikolai on all the socials. Reach out to him, let him know Clone Coach sent you, and if you're going to buy that Clone Coach SOP from clonecoach.com, be sure to use discount code COUSIN for 10% off your order. Cousin, that was a fantastic episode. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you, cousin. Bye for now.
Attention licensed operators in California. Are you looking for high quality nursery stock? Look no further than Refined Genetics. They provide top-notch clones, teens, and seeds to ensure the success of your operation. No order is too big. For a limited time, use discount code CloneCoach for 10% off your first order. Don't miss out on this opportunity to secure a solid nursery partner. Contact sales@refinedgenetics.co. And yes, it's .co, not .com. Catch you on the next episode of Clone Talk. Do you want to be a guest on Clone Talk? It's easy. Just send me an email. heyclonecoach@gmail.com. We'll get you all set up. I look forward to having you on the next episode.